Welcome to Dr. Jester Rants, and I'm gonna rant about, well, more retarded shit. Think of it as a battle between pro-terrorism and the civilized world. It's the battle that keeps on giving, and especially more interesting is the fact that it's from a games magazine that is supposed to be only about entertainment in general, mostly games. But somehow they've become more interested in other things. And it became kind of hilarious. Mostly because they were supposed to be, like I said, to be about games. Yet these people, these journalists, which are what we call activists, are more interested in their political nonsense than to actually report the facts or report about entertainment or games. This might actually be long. It's something that I do not want to cover because I am deadly afraid of the woke mob behind YouTube, and they may end up censoring me. It's kind of fascinating, really, how these people are, but I cannot stay quiet any longer. It's difficult to censor myself. I'm gonna try still censor myself, but, as you know, it may end up being problematic. Either way, look, you can say that I'm being a hypocrite because I'm covering politics, but no, I'm not, because I have been pretty clear from the beginning of this channel. Since I created it, it will dabble in politics, in games, and everything that fancies that I fancy, so it's clear. Meanwhile, IGN never ever talked about, not that they talked about that, they were never about politics, they were about entertainment. But unfortunately, since they started hiring woke imbeciles, things have become politicized back at IGN. So, let's go and take a look. Bounding into comics, IGN posts statement clarifying their support for Palestine, which, let me put it this way, has never actually existed. Yes, the Palestine itself that you know of was in fact the name that the Romans used, Philistine, as in to address the Jews as a form of humiliation to them when they conquered that region. Yes. And then, then later on, that region, after being independent for hundreds of years, they became part of Roman Empire, then they fell and became part of the other empires itself. And Palestine, the Arab Palestine, was never independent, and they never had their own identity. Most of the immigrants in that region, most of the people in that region are in fact immigrants from Syria, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Morocco, from multiple of regions, including England. And there's even, they are pretty clear and open about it. You can actually go and research it for yourself if you are curious about it. And in fact, that region was pretty much dead. They almost had no people in that region ever, until the Jews started to come back into their land and revitalizing the region. And suddenly the Muslims in there said, I want that. How can you do that and not us? I want it now. And the Jews paid a lot of money to buy land in that region and things like that. I feel like there's a sneeze coming up. Sorry, my respiratory system is a notorious SJW. It's a diversity hire. Because my body somehow decided to hire something diverse, and now any dust particle triggers my nose, my entire respiratory system, and I get an allergy attack. So you will excuse me, and there's a lot of dust in the air, and it's been insufferable. Anyway, let's see if I can do this without sneezing or blowing my nose. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. And then the The War of Independence happened because the Arab League, before that, the Jews started moving out of Europe back to Israel, and the Mufti of Jerusalem, which was pretty much almost equally like the Pope that you know of, and they started to tell Hitler, hey, stop doing that, go on and kill them faster. And it made the genocide and the Holocaust accelerate because of the request of the Grand Mufti. And that's what we ended up being with a massive Holocaust and the amount of death that ensued. And then when that was over, even before that, there was the Ottoman Empire, which fell when they allied themselves with the Germans in World War I, and that's why part became French and part became British. Anyway, and that's where Britain decided to, and that's even before that, because they also had the Balfour separation, which was the entire Jordan and Israel that we have today, for the Jews, but then they decided they backtracked it and became even smaller in 1947 with just a few strips of land for Jews, and they were happy about it. But then the Arab League came and invaded all those tiny little strips of land and wanted them for themselves and killed and they ended up wanted to murder all the Jews in that region. For some reason, they were not happy. They wanted to kill them all. And then Israel defended itself and reconquered certain lands in a defensive war in 1948, just as World War II had finished a couple of years before. And Jordan, when then thereon, in 1948, captured Jerusalem, which was an international city. Nobody had any claim in that city. No one could. It was part of the UN. Jordan conquered it and then transferred some of its citizens, Palestinians, and took the house or property of Jews that used to belong to the Jews itself and expelled them and put in Palestinians in there. And then, years later, when there's the war, Israel reconquers certain territories in defensive war, which is legal, by the way. And after years of squatters living in Jewish property, they've managed to prove into court of law that those properties belong to them. And that's where they kicked out those Palestinian squatters out of the Jewish property. Yeah. And then, long story short is what we have today, because Palestinians cannot accept responsibilities. Anyway, now with that history lesson, video game website IGN has posted a statement clarifying the previous post that implied support for Palestine in the ongoing Israeli-Palestine conflict. The post also encouraged the readers to donate to a number of charities and organizations. Mind you, some of those organizations actually funnel money to Hamas, so you're practically supporting terrorism if you donated for one of those charities. IGN posted the company's main website a post by IGN staff on May 14, 2021, where it appeared that the company had taken sides in the conflict, choosing Palestine over Israel. A screenshot of the post shared on Twitter by archivist, English. See below shows a Palestinian flag next to IGN name and logo. The post itself was titled How to Help Palestine. It read, Palestinian civilians are currently suffering a great number of Jerusalem. Sorry, I need to make the terrorist accent. If you'll excuse me. Palestinian civilians are currently suffering great numbers in Jerusalem, Gaza, and West Bank due to the active Israel-Palestine conflict. No, that's wrong. No, that's not it. That's 7-Eleven accent. That's the wrong accent. If you'll excuse me, let me do this properly. Palestinian civilians are currently suffering great numbers in Jerusalem, Gaza, and West Bank due to active Israel-Palestine conflict. Now that's the proper accent. It continued. The next time reported that most of the deaths so far have occurred in Gaza. Paller charities organizations on the ground in those areas. Also can donate funds to help those in need. We'll continue to update this article, otherwise you can't help. If you notice, I'm doing the type of accent and voice like what of those fish people in Call of Cthulhu game, the first one that came out, would say or talk to. Yeah. Do you get the reference? It then listed out a number of charities, some of them would actually funnel. And then Israel, IGN Israel on Facebook issued their own statement that condemned the action of the main IGN website, which is based on America. And the owners, let me put them, this is long. Let me just say that, no, you know what, let me read IGN Israel's statement. We at IGN Israel support the Israel state, obviously, and support the IDF soldiers who are doing everything to keep us all safe these tough days. We are working in all possible ways to remove this misleading content from the American edition, which does not represent the views of any IGN editions, he concluded. I hate when they use netizens. We are amazed and discovered this morning that misleading and confusing donation campaign was found on the American IGN website. It is important for us to emphasize that we condemn this action and we did not take part in it or were aware of it. It is not our way. We at IGN Israel support the Israeli state, obviously, and then the part where I read it. And it is so because Israel is doing everything to minimize casualties on either side. They launch leaflets to tell people, look, you're about to get bombed because Hamas actually stores weapons and launch rockets from civilian properties, schools, hospitals, mosques, and things like that. They use the civilians as human shields. Meanwhile, Israel uses the Iron Dome to avoid those rockets from hitting civilians and killing Israeli civilians, but still has a failure rate, obviously, where you can actually see even kids dying in Israel because those rockets are actually aimed at civilian sides and civilian people itself. And we know Hamas has the money from Iran and some of those charities that send them the money. Instead of actually investing on protecting the civilians, people creating bunkers like Israel has done for themselves, what do? They actually buy rockets and build tunnels to actually transfer and smuggle missiles and rockets and weapons and mortars and things like that, and even kidnap civilians, Israeli civilians, by building those tunnels that even reach Egypt. On that note, Israel has left the Gaza Strip in 2005. Israel went to give Gaza Strip back to Egypt when they gave back Sinai. But Egypt did not want it. They said, oh no, we don't want that shit. We don't want that hot potato. You can keep it. You can keep it. And Israel said, okay, fine. Okay. But then eventually, oh, no, we don't want this anymore. Goodbye. And that's exactly what happened. Even Jordan itself, which was supposed to be the Palestinian state, said to the PLO and other terrorist organizations, Palestinians themselves, you know what? Fuck yourself. Goodbye. And that's exactly what they did. Anyway, officials across the heart we have found the event. And this is the statement that IGN company itself did. They deleted it itself, not the journalists of IGN America. This is from the parent company, Ziff Davis. I think it's the Ziff Davis or something like that. It's the parent company went on and deleted. And this is not censorship, by the way. This is not censorship in itself, because what you're doing, you are actually using the name of a company, yes, or your employer, to promote your activism. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is where I support the company going on after their employees. But if you were doing this on your own accord, that you are supporting a terrorist organization on your own accord, even then I'll be against it. I'll give you a point that, okay, it'd be bad for the company to go and attack target the person that is doing so on their own free time and using their own name, but it's not linked to the employer. I'll still give you that point, but still think it's wrong because you're supporting terrorism. But still, I still think it's wrong, but somehow. But then again, you're supporting terrorism. Let's move on. And let me go and switch to the happenings of today. Yes, it's Ziff Davis. There you go. This is what the employees of IGN, the ones who support terrorism, said. And I was correct. It's J2 Global and Ziff Davis company who went on and went against and deleted the stuff. And this is the open letter. We undersigned employers of IGN are appalled by recent management decisions to subvert our territorial autonomy and remove our police directly to the Palestinian civilians suffering a humanitarian crisis in the West Bank and Jerusalem. And you can see here, it's wrong, you're using the company's name. The company has the complete and total control of what their name is used for. If this was a Coke company doing some woke bullshit and was authorized by the higher-ups, then sure. But this wasn't authorized by the higher-ups. This is you fucking filthy journalists, game journalists using the company name. And this is something they did not authorize. And even more so, this is quite interesting because these games journalists probably wanted to work for CNN and other things, or the activist news stations out there, but they were so sucky that even CNN and Washington Post could not hire their shitty work. And so we can see here that some of it's long and they are an absolute shit show. Let's see, did they say anything? Oh, of course, they also says the other terrorist organization. Let's see, let's move on. And here are the names, which surprised me. Some of them sound Latino, which makes me think it might have some support of other IGN branches, which is quite interesting. Suffice to say, Ziff Davis, let me put it this way, you have the names, all the names of these activists over here that's working on your company. Now you know who they are, fire them all. Done. Problem solved. Either way, the problem will sort itself out. And just so you know, this is the archive version of the statement by the IGN company itself did. And this is coming out on Vice, shit show. From Waypoint, IGN staff pissed after meeting about deleted Palestine charity posts. It's not awareness, this is support for terrorism. I'm sorry, Vice, you need to do your proper work. You need to understand that you're supporting terrorism. Yes, and even Kotaku came out in support of terrorists. Why am I not surprised? Anyway, I think that's about it. I think I'm gonna keep that flag for the time being, for now, for probably the next few videos. I don't know, I'm gonna see it. Either way, if you like this type of content, stay right here on goddamn fucking YouTube, which I'm really afraid by showing my support to the civilized world, to a country, the country of my peeps. It's going to get me censored again on YouTube, but still. Anyway, if you like spicy content, head to bitchute.com/drchester, minds.com/drchester for exclusive content. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I need to blow my nose because my allergies is attacking me. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a very good night. Except you, IGN. Because you're this... Well, at least the IGN that did this stuff. The IGN who managed to reel in their employees. Now those, good night. And IGN Israel too. Good night. So, take care.